An often repeated phrase in the scripture is, "Do not be afraid." It was told to Abraham when he was invited to leave his home. An angel said, "Don't be afraid," to Zechariah when he announced the birth of John the Baptist. And in this morning's gospel, Gabriel said it to Mary when she was told that she was to be a mother. Joseph was told in a dream not to be fearful. Perhaps it's repeated so often because we are, by nature, fearful. Mary must have been terrified when she learned that she was pregnant. Joseph was understandably upset and fearful when he was apprised of the situation. Aren't you fearful when you might be in a position of losing your job? Aren't you cautious when you walk alone in a strange city? Aren't you afraid when you receive a diagnosis of a serious illness? Aren't you afraid when you're confronted with the reality of aging or the challenge of adolescence? We have good reasons to fear. A certain amount of fear is good. That's why we teach children not to go near a hot stove or to play with a strange dog or know that knives are not meant to be toys. Fear can make us aware of the dangers that are around us. At the same time, we are invited by the scriptures not to be afraid. Perhaps fear and not being afraid are not necessarily antithetical. Perhaps they can coexist in a way that we can both fear and yet not be afraid. How? Because we trust and believe in a God who walks with us, stays with us, even in our moments of fear. He is Emmanuel, God with us. Perhaps the scripture is speaking directly to you this morning. You may have been invited to listen to the assurance that God is indeed with you. An angel may be speaking to you in some form this morning through the words of the gospel that says, "Do not be afraid." Together you can get through this crisis, even if it ends in death, because we believe that death itself has been conquered by Christ. In these last few remaining days of Advent, let us ask the Lord to help us to trust in God's ever-abiding love for us, even as we face legitimate fears in our life. Let us turn them over to the Lord and ask Him to walk with us so that our fear can be replaced by trust and assurance as we hear the word of the Lord spoken to us this day. Do not be afraid.